Okay, so ABC just announced the Golden Bachelorette is happening. They are continuing the Golden franchise season coming this fall. I believe there are five potential candidates, no more, no less, with some wild cards. But I think five people could potentially be our Golden Bachelorette. Now let's do a quick recap of the Golden Bachelor, okay? Some of you might not have watched it. Some of you probably forgot it. Some of you maybe want to forget it. So maybe skip this part. We had our golden grandpa, Gary Turner from Indiana. I love a Hoosier. Shout out to Indiana. But let's say I'm not the fondest of Gary right now, which we'll get to. It took us a few weeks to honestly figure out if it was Gary or Jerry. We cried almost every single episode of the season. Another story, another sad moment, another weeping widow. And as the season went on, we kind of turned on Gare Bear. We started to see that he was really just love bombing a lot of these women. The Hollywood Reporter had some choice words for Gary. At the end of the day, Gary wasn't the worst lead we've ever had. He was our first Golden Bachelor, which he will always have a special place in our hearts. And in the end, he chose Teresa over Leslie, and they rode off into the sunset to never be seen from again, except for 3 weeks later when they got married on live television, the first ever golden wedding. And that brings us to here, the announcement of the Golden Bachelorette season. This is a very important decision, I think, for the franchise for one main reason. They can decide to A, follow the path that they've been doing with the Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, follow that model by picking someone from the cast of the Golden Bachelor. Pick one of those Golden Grannies to be the next lead. That's what they do with the Bachelor, Bachelorette. They just recycle contestants over and over again. Now, they could do that. Or, as I'll get to at the very end of this video, they could go crazy here. A little crazy land, okay? They could pick a celebrity, a famous person, a nobody like Gary was beforehand. That would be a very interesting call for this franchise. If I had to guess, I think they're going to stick with what works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're going to pick one of those Golden Grannies from Gary's season. And I think there's five of them. So let's get to them. Also, if you want to stay updated on all things Bachelor Nation, you like videos like this, subscribe here. Like the video, follow Batchmakers, my co-host and I, Michael. We break down episodes each week, recaps, goofs, laughs, ha-has, all the above. It's a fun time. So just come hang out with us. The first person I want to talk about, who I think is the first person that would come to mind when you start thinking of the Golden Bachelorette, it's Leslie. She was the runner-up on Gary's season, and that's always the front runner for the lead of the next season. They picked the person who just missed out on love. That's the story. They just missed out. They deserve another shot, which Leslie does. I'm biased. I'm Team Leslie. I love Leslie. I hope it's her. I'm going to be transparent with you guys. I do hope it's her. But there's a good chance it's not. She is 65, which I would guess is the ideal age for the Golden Bachelorette. They want someone mid-60s so they can go a little younger, a little older, and just keep everyone around that age. Gary was 71. So I think they want to stick around here. It's hard to say if Leslie's even interested in this. She hasn't come out and said that she would do this. So it's hard to say. She could very well just be like, "No, I'm out. This was a lot." Remember, she told off Gary.
I can think whatever I want.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm heartbroken. Once again.
She basically said, "Hey, you led me on, and I don't like that. I didn't deserve that," which she didn't. And there could be an argument that she was so invested in Gary, it would be hard to convince her to go now, put herself out there in a situation, be very vulnerable again. And I wouldn't blame her for saying no to that. The next potential candidate, we have Joan. Now, Joan's interesting because she didn't get eliminated by Gary. She self-eliminated a few weeks into the season. She had her own daughter who was trying to build a family, had some troubles, and she had to leave. So right when she left the show, people were already saying, "Hey, Golden Bachelorette." And that was a while ago. A lot has happened in the last couple months. Maybe they've moved on from Joan. She is 61, which I wonder if she might be almost too young for the Golden franchise. I don't know quite what the age range they're looking for is, but I would assume it's 60 plus. So Joan being 61 is on the early side of that. The third candidate I want to talk about is probably the most interesting because it's Susan. Now, Susan was arguably the MVP of The Golden Bachelor. She was hilarious, some great one liners. America just loved her. I love her. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone really thought she was going to end up with Gary. I don't think she ever really had a shot to win the thing. So then some people are saying, hey, give her a shot. Put 30 golden grandpas out there to fight for Susan because we love Susan. We like that energy. Her personality is great. I think her personality fits the show very well. My only counter argument would be I think she's the perfect host for the Golden Bachelorette. I don't think they can stretch Jesse Palmer too thin and have him do all of the entire Golden franchise. If they don't choose Susan for the Golden Bachelorette, I think she'd be the perfect host. And that's probably not fair to her because she deserves to be in the lead's shoes. I think her personality fits the show. In one way or another, she's going to be involved in this season. And she's 66, so she fits what you would say the model is. Candidate number 4 is Miss Ellen. Now, Ellen opened up about her friend Roberta, who basically encouraged her to go on the show. This was a great story that I think could very well carry into a Golden Bachelorette season. And now I hate to kind of reduce that to a storyline, but that's what the show loves to do. They love their stories. If there's a story there, they will find it. Okay. And that story fits. It fits the Bachelorette vibe. So Ellen very well could be the choice here. She also didn't seem too fond of Gary after the breakup. I don't know if you caught this. When Gary and Leslie were talking, it cut to the other women, and Ellen had one of the greatest eye rolls of all time.
Faith, Ellen, and on back. I hated every one of those events.
It was incredible. I think the other women, they rallied together. I think they hate Gary.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with them.
So I don't know if she's really just turned against the entire franchise or she'd be willing to give this a shot. She's also 71, so she's the same age that Gary was for the lead if they wanted to go that route. And the last candidate I want to talk about from Gary's season is Faith. Now, Faith is the one person on this list I think is probably out of contention, but I'm including her because I think she would be good. I just don't think she would do it. She seems very settled in to her life out in Washington, doing the radio, doing her thing. And I think that's the big reason why it didn't work out with Gary. She didn't want to uproot her life, and neither did Gary, which, again, I'll say it a million times, makes sense for this franchise. Who at 60 wants to uproot their life and go chase something else? They're usually settled in, which they should be. I would hope I am at 60, 70 years old, just settled in to a nice little life. So I don't blame her. I don't think she would say yes to this, even if they offered. But I wanted to include her nonetheless, because I think she would be a good lead if you take out those external factors. And now we get to the wild cards. Okay, these are people from outside the franchise who have either been rumored, speculated, or honestly just kind of jokingly thrown out. So we have some big hitters. Okay, we have Meryl Streep, Diane Keaton, Sharon Stone. Those names have been thrown out just because they are older in age and single. It's basically it. While those would be fun, I think that's almost too gimmicky for the franchise. I know it's reality television, but it seems a little bit too strange for the franchise. So I don't think they'll do it. One name that has been kind of heavily rumored right now, and I stay out of spoilers. I don't want to know stuff before it's officially announced. That goes for the show itself. A woman by the name of Susan Lucci. Now, I have to be honest, transparent. I have no idea who this person is. Apparently, just a daytime television hero. And her husband passed away, unfortunately, in 2022. So, newly widowed, fits the narrative for a Golden Bachelorette. 77 years old, which would be very interesting to see how old they go with the cast, because I don't think we had anyone in the 80s for the Golden Bachelor. I don't know if they're willing to go there. We're willing to do that for the Oval Office, but we're not willing to do it on the Golden Bachelor. I'll say that. So it's interesting. This would definitely be one of the bolder choices this franchise has ever made. I still don't think they do it. I think they kind of are getting excited about the Golden franchise, and so they're trying new things, which good. The show needs to stay fresh. But I think at the end of the day, I don't think they're bold enough to make a swing like this, to be honest. I think they'll stick to someone from the show. If I had to guess right now, I'm going to say it's Leslie. Probably a little biased, but I think she makes the most sense just from a viewer standpoint. But honestly, I could see Susan sliding in there as well. So who knows? Comment, let me know who you guys think will be the Golden Bachelorette. Either way, we'll be covering the season no matter what. So make sure you subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. Watch Batchmakers, listen to Batchmakers, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.